Hello and welcome back to a brand new video on GP bikes. In today's video we will be covering the track in the middle of Ireland. St. Patrick's Day has come and we're going to do a few laps around Mandela Park. But just as we jump into the opening out lap, I'm just going to have a bit of a small few bits about the track and a bit of history about the place. So it is built and opened in 1968, so it is quite old. Actually, personally myself, I didn't realise it was that old. I thought late 80s at best for this place, but no, 1968, so that's 55 years ago at this stage now, so it's getting up there. And yeah, it's a track unfortunately I've never gotten the chance to ride in real life. It is about 2 hours away from me. It's in the Midlands nearly of Ireland in Kildare. Mandela Park, of course, is its name. And it's a track with a current lap record of 1 minute 38.5, held by a certain Irishman. He did a few road races. I'm not really sure if anyone's heard of him. Jonathan Ray went on to win, I think, 6 World Superbike titles or something kind of crazy like that. So back in his BSB days, back on the HM plant Honda, he set the fast lap round here, and that was all the way back in 2007. So 15 years since we've had Premier Class racing around here. So it is one of the smaller tracks. As you can see, beautiful scenery. It's in the middle of a farmland, so it's proper Irish. Green everywhere, middle of a farm, and a pretty fun track. Now, unfortunately, it's not in many games, so the track layout, I didn't know it much until I did a few laps. When it first got released, it got released about a month or 6 weeks ago, I think, at this point. And yeah, they were my first laps, and we spent that night, a few friends got on, and we actually managed to get a pretty big server going. I think 12-15 people jumped on, which for GP bikes is actually quite a bit. I had a big shock to my system when I went over to MX bikes and saw 15-20 different lobbies every single night. It blows my mind the way that there's that many people on the game. Unfortunately, GP bikes isn't like that, but maybe in the future we can build a community. But as we get turn 1 all wrong, turn 1 is very tricky in this place. It's such a awkward braking zone because there's a bit of a kink. The grass just kind of comes out into your natural line, so you have to take it a bit more central. A lot of braking bumps, as well as you're just crossing the line, you need to brake them, but the natural rider in you kind of wants to brake a bit late into turn 1. It just don't work because it's just the nature of the track. It's such a tight turn 1, you really want to be braking as soon as you cross the line. But the likes of Ayrton Senna, Mika Hakkinen, and among others have raced around here, so it is a pretty special old track for us Irish. There's not many tracks in Ireland that are this quality. A lot more motocross tracks, believe it or not, in this country, hence why we produce probably a few more motocrossers than we do short circuit racers. But racing isn't the biggest sport in Ireland. We're known really for rugby and some high soccer players and basically fighting each other. We have a lot of boxers and MMA fighters in this country. But unfortunately, short circuit racers have been at a premium over the last 20-30 years coming out of Ireland. Of course, we've had the Northern Riders in the likes of the TT in the Northwest and Dundrum and all them races, so we do have our good road racers. But a short circuit, we haven't really produced many. Jeremy McWilliams, I presume, was probably the most high notable racer coming out of the north of Ireland. I think he's from Belfast. Recently won the King of the Badgers race in America at 58 years old. That man is incredible. But the track itself is fun to ride. You'll see here in a while I will jump into first person, and in first person it really is a fun bit of riding. But we're riding, of course, as I say in Patrick's Day, we're riding as Eugene Laverty among his S1000RR, his 2020 S1000RR. Unfortunately, I can only get his 2015 helmet. There isn't a mod that I have anyway of his current helmet, so slightly outdated, but anyway, it's better than not having his helmet at all. But the best thing for this track really is a bit slower bike. It's a lot of, as you can see by the track map on the right, it does fold back on itself quite a bit, so the power of the superbikes is a bit too much overkill for this track. Ideally, I thought when I first did my few laps around there, I did it on a CBR 600, and I much more felt that was suited to the track layout. It's a lot like the British superbike tracks of today. Like your Cadwell really is similar to this in my opinion, just the way it's grass either side of you, narrow, windy, up and down, bumpy. It's the Irish Cadwell, I would kind of call it. But I love this bit of track here. You just get on the limit, I just touch the grass there, and that kind of spooked me, hence why I end up in the gravel. And we're going to jump now to me doing an absolute clean lap. So we set a 1 minute 47 that lap, Get into turn 1, pretty decent. You can see there's a lot of chat on the front end. Turn 1 is such a pain to get right in this bike. You just get down to it so much speed. You're on a slightly slower bike, less powerful bike. You don't brake as you cross the line. You can brake a bit later, but these 250 brake horsepower bikes, you're just teleported from corner to corner. But over the years, this place has held a lot of events. Nowadays, it doesn't really hold much racing, anything out of Ireland, a lot of local series and stuff, but it's held Jaffa Fest, and there's a lot of drifting and track days goes on here. And someday, hopefully, I'll get a chance to actually ride it in real life, so yeah, I do look forward to as much as the chance of maybe going to a foreign track. Of course, you always have to look inwards and look at the track in your own company, or own country even, not company, but I think it's a lovely little track. When I first kind of felt like riding it, I didn't like it that much, just because I'm actually not a fan of Cadwell, and I did compare it already to Cadwell just because how tight and bumpy, and just a lot of it, like this corner here, for ages I thought it was a left-hander for some reason. I thought it was 2 corners before, and I just kept going to the right of the track and then realising I had it all wrong. But we will jump into first person at the end of this lap, and I really enjoy riding this track in first person. Again, slightly slower bike is preferred, but there's a bit of fun in trying to wrestle a super bike around a nice windy tricky track like this. But I did post, slightly off topic now, jumping away from the GP bikes and the St. Patrick's Day festivities, but I did post a MotoGP 22 video yesterday. Now, I've gotten a bit of flack from it. A lot of people saying I was very harsh towards Milestone, and I am aware it was a preview build. Now, I did mention everything I'm about to say in that video, but I just want to kind of reinforce it, because some people for some reason didn't really pick up on it. But I wasn't bashing Milestone. I was just proving or pointing out everything that they've shown in that video that I haven't seen any improvement on, and it's probably my fastest growing video to 1,000 views already after 19 hours or 1,000 views, which is, I know everything with a new game is always good, but geez, that was quick even for my standards. And yeah, no, most of the feedback is positive. No, I have no problem with negative comments or anything. That it's all part of the game. You put yourself out to your kind of what you have no decision on it. Like, you're going to get negative comebacks and comments no matter what, or how nice you are to everyone. But I'm well capable of kind of giving and taking it. I don't mind. I do like people having critical feedback and suggestions and saying, maybe try this, I don't believe you're right with this, that and the other. I have no problem with that. But I just want to address some of the comments. So people are saying that I was very harsh. People are saying I was getting too worked up with the split screen thing. I've no issue with that being brought in. They took it out of the game a couple of years and they brought it back, and I think it should be in the game. It's a feature that will be used by some people, a small portion, but it's still a feature that I believe isn't that hard to implement and should be in every racing game as just like time trial, career mode, quick race and split screen are kind of like your bread and butter of racing games. They have to be there. So the fact they didn't have it was kind of weird, but they brought it back, which is brilliant. Fair play to them. But it's the way they've gone about it. They're leading their marketing with this as if it's a huge new feature, as if it's huge and game changing. It's not. Like, I'm not going to use it. Most of the people I play with, I'm going to go out on a limb, every people and person I know and race with will never even touch it. And yeah, now of course there's people that will use it, but it's just the way they've gone about advertising their game around it as if it's such a big feature. I don't get that. And the way, I don't believe it'd be a big feature and big loads and a big thing. And I did mention the physics looked unchanged. Now, I have been in contact with a reliable source of mine. He has hands-on time of the game. I think he's played about 5 to 6 hours, and he said he went back last night and played GP21 back-to-back comparison. He said it is a noticeable difference. So maybe I'm wrong with the physics. I hope I am, because I don't that video wasn't me like, oh look at me, I'm amazing, I'm right, this hasn't changed. I hope everything in this video gets changed back and improved. But I was just giving my feedback, and people did feel I was being too critical and negative, but it's just my opinions on the game. I want the GP games to be as good as the real life GP. I absolutely adore MotoGP, and I want the games to be as good as they can be. And with the series like F1 games having Codemasters, they nail the physics about 3 years ago, we'd say, on average. And then they just built layer upon layer upon layer on the game and built it up a nice in-depth career mode, 2-player career. They changed their online system. Now, it still has flaws, but they've gone and they've built a pretty good game, and even if you're not a huge F1 fan, you can jump on that game, have a lot of fun. With the GP games, it's a lot more bare bones, so you're relying a lot on the actual physics of the game and the bikes. But on screen now, we're going to just jump over and do our fastest lap if we can on a set of Super Bowls. Coming into turn 1, again, I get a bit of a kicker, but we just about get it stopped. It looks like you're about to get it every time, but you can see him nearly in the grass that time round. But back to the GP, I just wanted to improve, but according to my source, he says that the physics are different. Now, there was a list of things he said that I'm not going to go through in the video, but he said that he said he'd watch back his own footage. He said it looks nearly identical, but he said the actual handling in the game is different. So maybe I'm wrong in saying that it's not. Maybe it's what Codemasters have done, where they've just tweaked a few things, they've made it nicer there. Apparently the curbs aren't as bad. I did mention the curbs are still broken, and Biker Gaming, a friend of mine, pointed out maybe they had it on the strict corner cutting off, so they could kind of use the track limit. So again, maybe it was a bit harsh there, but again, I only went off what I had in front of me, so I was just giving my honest opinion of what I could see. So it's good. Again, I like to have feedback, because I didn't think maybe they had it turned off. Re-spotted it, and overall it's probably going to be a step in the right direction, hopefully. Fortunately there, we did tuck the front on our fastest lap, and my batteries went dead at that point, so front end feeling was gone, and we decided that's where we're going to end it off. But just want to say a few more things before we end the video on the GP side. The big issue with GP21 was the online. The online was broken. They didn't have crossplay for the PlayStation and Xbox guys. Of course, I'm on PC. That doesn't affect me, even though I would like it for all three communities to be able to link up. I don't think MotoGP, the game is such, I think it's still a bit of a niche game, so the fact that there's 3 different communities for online, I think is wrong. I think they should find a way to balance everyone together. And now the fact that they have PS4, PS5, Xbox One and Series X and newer consoles, I think that is right. But I still think it is slightly still not enough. Now it's just, again, it's a step. I think milestone every year, they just want to make a step. And again, if you go back over the years, they have made steps here and there, but sometimes you just want a bit more. But no, I'm going to end it there. For the final time, happy St. Patrick's Day. I hope you're having a very good day today. And yeah, leave the video a like if you have enjoyed, and I shall catch you all in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.